Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Network 216 Browns versus Cardinals pregame show. I am Tyler Johnson, joined by Casey Kinnaman, Jacob Roach, Eddie McDonald, and I believe Nick Carnes is going to stop in as well at some point during the show. Gentlemen, Sunday morning, at least where I'm at, it's currently sunny right now and like 50 degrees. So I'm doing pretty well. How are the rest of you guys doing?
Can't complain.
Yeah, I'm doing great, man.
I usually hate daylight savings time, but I got that extra hour of sleep. I feel like great. Like I woke up and I was like, dang, I'm not tired. Like, what's this?
Dude, I needed that extra hour of sleep. Oh my goodness.
I forgot about it too, and then I was just like, why am I so like not tired? And then I was like, that extra hour. I was like, perfect.
Oh yeah, you wake up and it's like 7:45. You're like, what the hell? It's Sunday. Why the hell am I up at 7:45 in the morning?
Every week.
Bullshit.
Every week.
You know what? We're good. Like, yeah, we can rock this up. But no, man, like I'm excited. We got a great opportunity in front of us today, so I'm ready for it.
Of course, before we get down to breaking down the Browns and the Cardinals, as always, guys, be sure just take a second and drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're brand new to Network 216, as we are trying to reach 3,000 subscribers on that push. So again, it's completely free to subscribe. So if you guys would do that, we would really appreciate it. But also, if you're joining us on Twitter or Facebook and you don't want to go over to YouTube, make your way over to Lockerverse. We are live on the Lockerverse app as well in the Dog Pound Lounge. So feel free to hop over there. And another reason to join Lockerverse is Quarterback Unplugged premiering every single week on the Lockerverse app, with Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson and his quarterback coach Quincy Avery. Gentlemen, speaking of Deshaun Watson, of course, the big news is that Deshaun Watson is going to start this game. A little surprised from the standpoint that it sounded like he was targeting a return versus the Ravens, but sounds like he has ramped things up. He's had a really good week of practice. He's actually practiced every day this week, which is a step in the right direction compared to a couple weeks ago when the Browns said he was going to start against the Colts. So I have to ask you guys, what confidence level do you have in Deshaun Watson today, and what are your expectations for him against the Cardinals?
I have no clue. I honest to God have no idea how this is going to go. It can go any which way. And as a Browns fan, I'm just expecting whatever one to happen, that's the right one to happen. He's going to play. How well he's going to play, I have no idea. We have not seen him really play in like over a month and change or whatever. We saw him for 3 or 4 plays a few weeks ago. But if he feels good to go, then he's good to go. So, there's no doubt this week of, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? He's playing. Now he just has to play above average.
Because I said it on the Barking Browns on Tuesday. I was like, I don't give a shit what you tell me, what you feed me throughout the week, what you show me on Twitter with clips, and what his mouthpiece Chops says on Twitter. Oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. The stuff that's being fed inside camps and things like that. I don't care until today, until Sunday, until he's on the field. Not even during warm-ups. I don't give a shit what warm-ups look like. When he's on the field throwing the football in a live action situation, then I will believe it. We had it split down the middle amongst media members on whether or not he had any zip on the ball during early, especially the Wednesday and Thursday prep. Yeah, it was Zipgate. It was the wildest shit I've ever seen. And I've been on Twitter for a minute. And I was just like, this is like people seeing the same things and saying like, this is zip, or he threw with some zip today, but he was lobbing a lot of them. And it was like, well, guess what? Going into 2 weeks ago, you told me there was no restraints on him, no restrictions. He could go out there and he could perform. He had a ton of zip in practice, and then he was throwing dead ducks in the game. So I have none. I have absolutely zero expectations for Watson today. I am happy he is going against Arizona and not Baltimore as his first game back in over a month. I was one of the few advocates saying, put him out there as soon as possible. He has got to get back into the flow of things. He still looked rusty at the beginning of the season, and now he's missed another month. So it's like, get him out there as soon as possible. But dude, just don't. All I ask is don't turn the ball over, and that's my only expectation is that he doesn't throw 3 picks, I guess. But it's completely in the basement. Just don't suck ass. That's all I want. That's it.
I can echo all those sentiments. I'm over the word zip. I'm over practice vibes. Like what I need to see is the back of his drop, his foot hit the back, and throw me a piss missile. Let me see a frozen rope to the sidelines on a back shoulder, and I'll feel good. Until I can see he can actually perform that on the field, it's hard for me to have confidence. So I really can't assign a number to it. It's near 1 to 2 if I had to place anything on it. But we heard all this is Groundhog Day. We heard all the same thing that led up to this week, led up to Indianapolis. We heard that there was no restrictions. He looked good. I even seen people trying to analyze a slight smirk on Stefanski's face when he was asked whether.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's how far we've gotten. That smirk.
Okay. I'm still hearing anything about Stefanski.
Didn't see it? You didn't see that? So there was a thing on Twitter, and I'm trying to remember exactly who it was. It might have been our good friend Grant that said it, but there was this, like, as Stefanski had made that like Watson starting when he in that presser that he said that, like at the end when he was talking about having his quarterback back on the field, he gave his slight smirk, and everybody's like, yep, he's excited too. He knows when he's going to get on the field and tear it up. And he literally like did this. He was just like,
I think.
And I was like, okay, whatever.
First of all, there's an excellent use of the term piss missile.
It was.
We're starting off hot today. But I think in general, like, I'm just looking for positive momentum, man. Like, feel like we finally got, you start the season and you say, well, what's Watson going to look like in this new offense? And is he going to have the rust knocked off? And we were hoping that was going to be done and over with through the 6 games last year. And obviously it wasn't, right, because of the way things started. So it's like you caught a glimpse. You saw a glimmer where it's like, Watson's completing all these balls over expectation. And he put together a legitimately good performance, like should have had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against Tennessee. And I thought at that point that could be the turning point, because remember, it's like, it's over a month ago now, but it's like Watson and Stefanski are chest bumping at the end. And you're like, could this be a breakthrough? Right. And then of course he's hurt. And here we are, however many weeks later. And so for me, I'm just looking to build momentum back in the right direction. I think it's clear to me at this. I mean, everybody operates off confidence, but it definitely feels like Deshaun needs that confidence to perform at the way that we're hoping he will. So today, to me, it's a success if Deshaun builds that momentum in the right direction, because you're going to Baltimore and then you've got Pittsburgh coming to you in the next 2 weeks. Those are huge games. So if you can get him feeling comfortable, even just a little bit more, like that, let him see himself having success again, like he did against Tennessee, because that really could. I very strongly believe that he could have built off of that. And then, of course, the injury happens. So as far as confidence goes, I'm going to give it about a 3. I feel like he came in too early. He knew that was obvious to all of us there in Indianapolis. We're 2 more weeks removed from that. I don't think he would come out onto the field again if he didn't feel like this was going to be different. So let's build some momentum. Let's see Deshaun in the offense. Let's get a win. Let's get people feeling good, and then let's get ready for Baltimore.
For me, you guys have all said a lot, and I pretty much agree with pretty much all of it. But I would say the one thing for me, make it through the game.
Yeah,
honestly. But like, I'm not kidding. I want to see him make it through this game. Because honestly, that's my big worry is, can he make it through the game? And because I expect 1 or 2 turnovers. I hate saying that, but I do. Win the game, finish the game. Let's move on after that. Because then you've played a game, you've gotten a game under your belt, and let's go from there. Because, this was a big question, and I'm going to forward it to you guys too, because I think it's a big deal here. I almost wonder if this plays into it. I do believe he is healthy enough to play, because I don't think he would do this again if he wasn't. It sounds like he's going against the Cardinals today. Okay. I'm not trying to take a shot at the Cardinals here, but he's going against the Cardinals as opposed to sitting another week going against Baltimore for his first game back. Are you guys happy with the decision to come back against Arizona as opposed to Baltimore? Or would you have erred on the side of caution, had another week for sure, and then had him right, because he still could have practiced all week, and then bring him back against Baltimore? Are you guys happy with this decision, or would you have held him out another week?
The thing about it is, if he's going to get the reps, then in my mind, it's a little bit of malpractice to put somebody else out there. That was a big issue, I think, that we had with DTR and in that start, which I know they really fudged that first week really bad by not getting his MRI till the end. So that in itself is a whole different conversation. I'm with you 100% on that. I get that aspect of it. But if he's going to go out there and get the first team reps, he needs to be out there. I'm not paying him just to play division games. I'm playing him to be an elite quarterback in one of the best and create and take an offense that has had statistically and metric wise the worst quarterback play in the NFL and make it good. I'm not even looking for him to be great right now. You need to go out there and you need to make it good. That Ravens defense is nasty. I'm not putting his ass back there for that being his first game. I know that everybody was like, well, he'll be super healthy when he goes into that game, but like, I guess, do we really even know? The team knows. And if the team thinks it's fine, then we'll go with it. But it's just like, I'm not throwing him to the wolves out there. And I'm just, if he can play, he needs to play. That's my idea. That's my thought. And I don't want him to go against the Ravens and everybody be like, oh, well, he hasn't played in 6 weeks. And then all of a sudden you're 1-3 in the division. Absolutely not. I'm not
do that in week 10. That's not a thing. You can't be a thing.
You could have done it in week 4. You had that opportunity, You could have not given him all the reps and then threw DTR out there like that. You could have been like, man, he's sore. It's week 4. We got to bye. Let's shut him down. Like, you can do things like that, but it's just like, no, I'm not going into week 10 where I'm 1-2 in the division. The Steelers somehow keep winning, so you need those division wins because they still keep winning and they beat you. And like, they're still a good defense. And the Ravens defense is as good as it comes right now. Absolutely not. Get him out there, get him going, do it against the defense that's not very good. Now, could that defense still shut down Deshaun Watson? Yeah. But statistically and talent-wise, you're looking at it as an opportunity to really get a get-right game. It's just like the Browns have been for the last 2 decades. You're like, oh, we got the Browns on the schedule. Our offense will get right. Make this a get-right game. Because you have a massive talent advantage over Arizona.
I do think it was telling they left PJ Walker as the backup because that tells me that they have to have someone in place to be prepared to come in without any reps. That they had, that they couldn't name DTR the backup and then Deshaun gets all the reps and we're in the same position. If Deshaun goes, say it's Groundhog Day for real and we're at the end of the first quarter, Deshaun has to come out. You can't send DTR out there, but you can march PJ Walker out there. So they kind of hedged their bets this week. But to answer your question, hell no, I don't want Baltimore to be his first action. That's a terrible place to play, even if they were subpar from what their standard is. But that defense is legit, and you got to get him live action. You just absolutely have to. Next week couldn't have been his first game. And the expectation versus, like you said, I probably expect a turnover or two. Unfortunately, that is the reality we're living in. But we keep using the word rust, and I hate it. But it's real. He has to get that rust knocked off because if not, next week could be a slaughterhouse.
Yeah, and then that will just end to a frenzy. Everything will just go to hell after that point. And while I'd be enjoying it from afar, I will not be engaging in most of that because nope, I've done that before. But yeah, this is absolutely the right game to come back to. Arizona is not that good. I don't care who their quarterback is. I don't care who they have on their team at all. They're not that good. This is a game the Browns should dominate. If Deshaun Watson, all he has to do is play like PJ Walker did a couple weeks ago. That's not asking too much. 200 yards, and please don't turn it over, but probably will, like we're all saying. But this is the absolute perfect game to do it. Absolutely not send him to Baltimore. Like, okay, here, our season sort of hinges on this, like at least our chance for the division hinges on this game, sort of. So here you go ahead. No, absolutely not. He needs, like Casey said, this live action, and this is the perfect time to do it.
I just think it's been very obvious that Deshaun sees a lot of what's said about him and the discourse surrounding him. And I think for him personally, he just needs confidence. It's like I was saying before, I just think you have to build momentum in the right direction. And this is the perfect opportunity to do it. I also say whatever you want about the ridiculously high price on Jacoby Brissett, but when the Browns decide not to add a quarterback, you're saying it's Deshaun or bust, right? And so to me, it's a good sign that Deshaun is playing this week, because when they decided not to add a quarterback, they probably said to themselves, okay, Deshaun's just about ready. And so when he's going back out on the field today, that at least shows a little bit more cohesion to me. So I'm hoping that this could be where the Browns build off of and really put it in a high gear and start competing down the stretch to make a playoff berth, right? And so that's what I think they see, and that's what I hope we'll see today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming back against Arizona, I think, is really the best case scenario. That's the way at least I look at it. The Browns are going to have some players that have already been ruled out due to injury. David Bell has been ruled right. Wide receiver David Bell has been ruled out with a knee injury. It looks like also Greg Newsome has been ruled out with a groin, and Alex Wright's been ruled out with a knee injury. So with those injuries, who are guys that you really want to see step up with those players being out, those three in particular? DeJuan Jones is still questionable. It looks like Marquise Goodwin is going to end up playing after not practicing due to illness on Thursday. But regarding the guys who are out, who are some players that you want to see step up today?
Go ahead, Jacob.
Anybody?
What is it all? Okay. Shit.
Too. I just wanted to give the floor up.
No, I know, but then like everybody's like mad at me that I wasn't saying anything. I don't know, man. Like I would like to see some more Cedric Tillman this week. I think they talked about Cedric Tillman and Marquise Goodwin getting an expanded role with Donovan Peoples-Jones gone, because Donovan Peoples-Jones had by far the most snaps of any wide receiver on the team. He wasn't getting targeted at all. I'm not exactly sure what was going on with that, but he takes a lot of snaps as he leaves town. And then you have David Bell, who's played, he's only had a few targets and a few catches, but he's had a good amount of snaps as well. So you take away both of those snaps and you got to say, well, where does it go? And it's like, well, who's your big body physical wide receiver now? And it's Cedric Tillman. I mean, we saw it in the preseason. We've seen it when he was at Tennessee. He's an incredibly talented athlete. Has some injury concerns here and there, but when he's been on the field, he's been an X factor at Tennessee. People kind of forgot about him in the draft after he got hurt and Jalen Hyatt tore it up. But he reminds you a lot of DPJ, but I think he's a little bit bigger and more consistent as a catcher. I think he creates better separation than DPJ does, but he will get by. If you let him like run a go route and you don't get physical with him, he will run by you. He's faster than you think he is. And he just catches absolutely everything. His amazing body control, the ability to track the ball in the air is really, really nice. And as Watson is going to be looking, I think they're going to look early to capitalize on screens and short passes and things like that, like they did with David Njoku last week. I think they'll feed him there as well. But I think you could see some just jump ball situations, some easier chunk plays. And I think Cedric Tillman will probably play a pretty big role if we do in fact see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going
Isaiah McGuire has entered the chat.
And you took mine.
I
knew you were going to. I love it. I love it.
Well, we've been waiting to see this guy, and it hasn't been, we've had a lot of these rookies that have been healthy scratches, but it's because the rooms that they happen to be in are so deep that they haven't got the chance to get any run yet. And I've been waiting to see this kid. His tape was phenomenal, man. He was so much fun to watch. He has a lot of high-level traits. And I'm just excited to see him get some run today. And with Alex Wright being out, it's going to be a perfect time to get Isaiah McGuire, get his legs under him, and hopefully see if we have another piece that can be a nice piece of this rotation.
I love Isaiah McGuire.
I don't think
Isaiah McGuire was the big one for me too. Outside, because Tillman's obvious, I feel like, because with the trade. No, but I just mean, dude, I'm pumped to see McGuire too, just because we haven't seen him yet. Like, and I think it's important that people understand. It's probably a good thing we haven't had to see Isaiah McGuire, because that means that they like what they've gotten production-wise from the rest of the defensive end group. And same with Siaki. I see someone, and I knew this would happen. What's up with Ika? No reason to play Siaki Ika. Let him learn.
Who snaps are you taking to play Siaki Ika? Like, seriously, which one of those four guys? Like, who you taking? You taking Maurice Hurst off the field?
Nope.
Why the hell are you taking Maurice Hurst off the field? Hell,
That's
even Jordan Elliott. Are you taking Jordan Elliott off the field? He's playing pretty good too. Like,
credit to Andrew Berry. We're not used to that here in Cleveland. We're not used to having position groups that have so much depth that your rookies are not even active on game day.
No.
But you look at the four, you say Shelby Harris is playing well. Jordan Elliott's had nice moments. Delvin Tomlinson's obviously playing well. And Mo Hurst. Mo Hurst had one of the coolest interceptions I've ever seen a Brown have just last week. That was awesome from him. But I just real quick to answer your question, Tyler. I don't think it's any fault of his own, but I would love to see the ball actually go in the direction of Elijah Moore today. Like, let's have a little bit more.
He's unhappy with his role, Nick, by the way. So I think that's important to note.
I don't blame him.
That's important to note.
Can we have a competent passing game, and can we throw to the guy who all the measurables say is open? Right? Like you traded for this guy for a reason. Everybody was excited for a reason, and we just haven't had the pass game to support Elijah Moore. Like, I think the reason Kevin Stefanski has tried to get Elijah Moore involved in so many different ways is because he can't throw the damn ball to him successfully at this moment. So, okay, Deshaun Watson's back. You're hopefully going to have the offense that you initially envisioned for this year. Let's hit a positive step in the right direction, and let's get the guys more, like, we got to come off of first reads. We got to throw to players that are open. So free Elijah Moore, and by free him, I mean throw him the ball.
Let me rephrase this. Sorry, guys.
He's been throwing the ball though. He has plenty of targets.
Moore is not complaining, but I mean it's not to where it's an issue. But I mean, he said that he would like his role to be a little bit different, which is the guy's a wide receiver. Yeah. He's not a running back. So I wouldn't say he's starting to complain, but there have been rumblings that he would like his role to change.
But I think it will. He gets plenty of targets to be complaining. He's had 7 in every game, but like 1.
They're 3 feet above his head, or
he's not complaining about lack of targets. He's complaining about
I can't help that PJ Walker can't throw. I can't help that PJ Walker looks at Elijah Moore and just throws to Elijah Moore and doesn't go anywhere else when other people are open. I like, he can complain all he wants, but like, they're trying to get him the ball as much as they can. It all comes down to execution. He's dropped some passes too. It's not like he just catching everything that comes his way, and except the ones that are uncatchable. He's had drops and fumbles too. So it hasn't been good. I would love to see him step up. I've been begging for it for weeks, but the complaining part or frustration, I get it's frustrating, but like, you've also had PJ Walker throwing you the football for most of the time that you played here. Now you get Watson back. So
can I read some Instagram quotes?
Yeah, go for it.
So our good friend Jackson McCurry posted this just on Facebook. Brown's Instagram, bringing out the comments towards the starting quarterback today, because like he's got like a nice watch on, I guess, and they made a comment. The Instagram did, but here's some of the comments in reaction to Watson's watch. No one cares about his watch. Can he throw the football and make a completion? Until he goes down and gets injured second play of the game.
Oh.
Wow. Hold on, this one's good. Wow. He showed up and flossed the watch from all the money he got to not play. Boy better look like John Elway today. Brown's PR team really be trying to get an A for effort. BBB, bring Baker back.
Oh my gosh.
He got to go for 304 tubs. Fuck.
The Browns inactives for today.
Okay.
DeJuan Jones is active and he will play. Leroy Watson, Alex Wright, Siaki Ika, David Bell, Greg Newsome, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson are inactive, but DTR can play as the emergency third quarterback if it is needed. So something to keep in mind there. I can't.
Okay, the play calling is not horrendous.
I can't. If anyone wants to talk about it, feel free. I've talked about it ad nauseum, and I'm honestly to the point I'm sick of it because I don't know what more can be done. But
I actually not talked about it that much. I just wrote about it because I was on.
Hey, talk. I can't because I
will do that. The play calling is not horrendous. There's guys wide open for days, and days and days. It's just if you don't have a confident quarterback and they just go to their first read, okay, it's not going to happen. And then everyone's bitching about the third down pass call. There was guys wide open. It hits off a helmet. Kevin Stefanski's can't help that. Once the play is called and it's in, and the players have to execute. So you can be mad at the call because you're sitting at home. Oh, you should have ran it. Well, what happens if Kareem Hunt fumbles that ball if it's Kareem Hunt who touched it, or whoever's the running back? What if he fumbles it? Oh, what the hell, Stefanski? How would that be his fault? It's all about the execution, and it always has been the execution. The play calling is great. He gets guys open. Elijah Moore is open a lot more when he's just a wide receiver. It's just the quarterbacks cannot get him the ball. And that is not on Stefanski because his quarterback was P.J. Walker, and for a week, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and then a shell of himself, Deshaun Watson. He still doesn't have his franchise quarterback. Hopefully he gets him back today. Hopefully they're all smirks and chest bumps, and we can write about how fairy tale it is and how there's no issues with them. But the play calling has not been horrendous before, during, or after Watson. I'm good.
All right. No, that's good. We don't even need to address it anymore. I'm glad. Hey, glad someone said, because I feel like I've just a broken record with it. So, Pee Wee, also to answer your question, we did answer this earlier, but we will say it's good he's coming back against Arizona if he indeed is, like they say, healthy enough to play. But if he wasn't, then he probably shouldn't be. But it sounds like he is, so it's a good week to bring him back. Now, guys, the Cardinals have some injury issues on their side of things. Kyler Murray will not play today. Another week that he will not play. Kind of interesting there, but they're also trying to tank. So, it is what it is for Arizona. They also are going to be without Amari DiMercado at running back. The reason that's a big deal for those who have never heard that name, because believe me, until a couple weeks ago, I didn't know who he was. He has been starting in place of James Conner, who is on IR at running back. He is out today. So the Cardinals are down to their third running back. Hassan Hall actually might be active today after they just added him to the practice squad. And then
Browns
the
legend.
Then the Cardinals are also without, and this one is actually bigger than people realize. I tweeted it last night. They're going to be without rookie wide receiver Michael Wilson today. Now, why is that significant? Michael Wilson is top 10 in the NFL in producing yards after the catch. So for Arizona today, guys, how big of a loss are these injuries for them? They're still going to have Hollywood Brown. They're still going to have Rondale Moore, who Arizona does have some speed on offense. I'll give them that. They got Trey McBride, who's taken a step forward the last couple of weeks. But how big are those two injuries in particular for them today?
Huge, man. Michael Wilson, I was looking forward to the matchup with him, and I want to see him and Emerson go at it. I think that is going to be a fun matchup. Wilson got my attention during the Senior Bowl, man. That dude is he makes big plays, big chunk plays. They got a steal in him. Now, he was unhealthy as can be at Stanford, so I understand what teams are like kind of standoffish on him, but I think he's going to be a stud in the league. So for him to be out, that's huge. For Clayton Tune to be down a receiver. They do have a lot of tiny little small dudes, though. They got Rondale Moore, they got Greg Dortch, Hollywood Brown, these little tiny mini guys. But like Tyler said, they're fast, man. They got speed. They still have Trey McBride. That's another good option. Keontae Ingram being their running back one, that is a desolate place to be if you're Arizona. And the Browns should be able to put a stop to that running game right away. Hassan Hall, I don't know who they elevated. If they elevated Hassan Hall, Corey Clement. I know they went and signed Toby Jones this week, but they're the walking wounded at that position. So stop the running game and get after the quarterback, man. This should be a simple equation for Jim Schwartz.
They're inactives for the Cardinals: Keitrell Clark, Michael Wilson, Quantrez Knight, the safety, Amari DiMercado, Jesse Lukta, Tristan Colon, and Blake Whiteheart. That is
another big one is Keitrell Clark. He's actually been playing pretty well for him. So that's a pretty significant right there, actually. That one's significant. But another good comment here. Browns defense better eat today. Yes. If they don't, then we're really going to start having some serious questions. They did elevate Corey Clement.
What's that?
Sorry, the Cardinals elevated Corey Clement and Jeff Driscoll to the active roster. So Jeff Driscoll will be Jeff Driscoll will be the Cardinals' backup today, and Corey Clement probably will end up playing today at some point. So to answer your question there, Casey.
Real quick, because I got to bounce. I got to get down to my dad's and get myself set up for this stream. Casey and I will be streaming on the PSF app for a watch party for the entirety of today's game. So go over there and download that and check it out.
Hopefully you guys have better luck than I've had the last couple weeks with just being stressed.
Well, the last time we did it, we had the Titans game.
Yeah, it was a Titans game. So, we had a pretty good game the last time.
You guys had the best game possible. I've done the Steelers, I've done the Colts, and I did Seattle.
Yeah.
That's a heart attack live on air, man.
There was one moment though, if you go back and watch us against the Titans, where he throws it, where Watson threw it backwards to Elijah Moore, ended up losing like 20 yards. I went nuts. I was like, "You stupid mother!" And I just went after him. I was like, "I swear to God, if you do that again, I will find you." And then Hopkins made all those kicks and everything, and it was great. And I was like screaming effing money.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What do you want to add?
No, I was just gonna say I'll take the Browns by 17 today.
Okay, all right,
strong.
Sounds good, man. Safe travels.
We'll be on there post game after this tonight sometime. Peace out, guys.
Sometime. All right.
Yeah,
peace.
Shit. Still here.
Oh, there he goes.
that dude absolutely cracks me up.
You never know what you're gonna get with him, never, and that's why.
No, and that's what makes it so entertaining.
Yes.
What makes it so entertaining.
All right, good. Puka Nakua is active. Casey, Puka Nakua is active, buddy.
What are we gonna do?
Puka Nakua is active. He was questionable.
I never had a doubt. Never.
Well, I did because my fantasy team is getting crumbled right now by Tua and Waddle not doing a thing. So that's great. But
being
back to the defense,
is the worst possible thing in fantasy ever because you just don't know.
Especially for 9:30 games, because you actually have to get up and be like, oh, dang, he's out, or oh crap, I slept. He's in there. Great. But going back to someone said the defense better eat today. Yeah, they better. And if not, then Jim Schwartz better start getting some of the criticism Kevin Stefanski gets. Because every time the Browns win, it's Jim Schwartz who did it and not Kevin Stefanski. Because he's going to take over for Kevin once Jimmy gets sick of him and fires him and all that nonsense. But the defense was the one who folded last week when it mattered the most. Yeah, there was an uncostly turnover. The game should have been won. It wasn't. The defense, the best in the world is what they say. They didn't play for those final couple minutes. That they got torched. They got give up 57 yards all in the air. It was just ridiculous. So Jim Schwartz better get some of that criticism. Should this defense not come to play today? I think they do come to play. I think they have a real sour taste in their mouth. But in years past, we've seen like finger pointing and stuff. There's no finger pointing. Myles Garrett just said we have to play for 60 whole minutes. And okay, great. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And he was this close on a couple of those plays on that last drive, but the secondary let him down, and it was just a disaster. So if that happens again, if for some reason Clayton Tune comes out and just tunes us up for a bunch, not only am I going to be pissed, but Jim Schwartz should start getting criticism like Kevin Stefanski does. Because anything that goes, if a receiver drops a wide open pass, oh, Stefanski should have ran it. Oh, really? Because that dude could have caught it and had 20 more yards after that.
And I want to bring up a good point. That because you brought up the defensive performance the last couple of weeks, and one thing the Browns have struggled with recently against the Colts and Seahawks in particular, defending the run game has been a problem. And the one thing that Arizona is good at, and they are missing DeMercado, they're missing James Conner, but one thing they are good at, they are in the top 10 in the league in rushing yards per game. How do you guys think this defense stacks up against the Cardinals' run offense? And the reason I'm saying it that way, at least judging on the last couple of weeks, what we've seen from this defense in the run game, I'm at least a little concerned about that today, regardless of who's back there running the ball.
A huge part of the Cardinals' run game has been Josh Dobbs, though. He's been a massive part of that. So to take him out now, people are going to sleep. Clayton Tune's actually a really good athlete. 6'2", 220, runs a 4.6.
I can't.
He tested well at the combine. He can run, but I don't think he's going to strike fear in the hearts of any defenders. You know what I'm saying? I think they stack up well. I think that just the fact that the Browns defense gets to come play at home, I think they're going to have that juice today. I think today is going to be a big day where they feed off the energy. I expect, to Eddie's point, I expect them to get right. I think this is a get right game for the defense. They've played well in spurts. If you look at last week's game, it was actually an anomaly. They gave up 2 touchdowns right off the rip and then put the toothpaste back in the tube for the entire game until that very last drive. Mm-hmm. And that's to Miles. You got to play to 60 minutes. And they faltered the last 3 games at the end of games. So this is a game to work on things. You're at home. Is that disrespectful to Arizona? Yeah,
Sure.
but it is what it is, man. That's a 1-7 team.
Yeah.
And that one win came 3 weeks ago. Now, keep in mind that win came against a Dallas Cowboys team who thought they were going to roll their helmets out there and just get the win. So you can't do that. It has to be an effort day. But I fully expect this defense to shut this Arizona Cardinals offense down. I don't think they take a snap inside the red zone.
Real quick, before someone adds on to that, one thing I want to mention about, even though the Cardinals have one win, I'm going to give credit to Jonathan Gannon.
Mm-hmm.
This team plays as hard as anybody. It doesn't matter what talent they have. One thing I've noticed about Arizona, because I've NFL Sunday ticket, so I do multi-view all the time, and I'm watching like 4 games at once. But one thing about Arizona, they are never out of a game. Like, even when they're down 10 and there's like a minute left in the fourth, these dudes are doing whatever they can. Like, against Baltimore last week, they were down 14 and made that close at the end because they just didn't quit. So that's one thing I'm going to give Arizona. I think this is going to be a really hard-fought game, and I think the Browns are going to win, like probably win by 10 or more. But at the same time, I expect this to be tight till about the fourth quarter. That's just how Arizona plays.
That was my takeaway from watching Arizona. For the first 3 quarters, they're in every single game. Some teams are able to pull away in the fourth just because of the lack of talent. But if you were to like break down Arizona Cardinals to one player, they have a pass rusher named Dennis Gardeck. This dude's been a special teamer his whole career until this year, and now he's an outside rush linebacker. Dude's motor is ridiculous. He does not stop. He's a try-hard. He is the Arizona Cardinals in a nutshell. Not super talented. Will try really hard. Will fight. And to Gannon, I think, is building something out there. They just don't have the bullets in the gun right now. You know what I mean? They just don't have the firepower. But they will. They're scrappy, and it's a generic term to talk about an NFL team. But like they are, dude. They're a scrappy bunch. They got fight in them. They'll play hard. So there'll be some interesting matchups across the field. But overall, I just think the talent level of the Browns is so much greater than what Arizona is dealing with.
And I think on top of that, the Browns have been really good at home this year. Aside from the abomination against Baltimore, you're 3-1, right? And I'm going to put a lot of that on, Dorian coming in with no obvious game plan for him. But outside of that, I think even despite that, you're still outscoring your opponents by a significant bit if you combine all of the games. The defense has been, the last time the defense was on the field, they were given oh my God, I can't. Brock Purdy. They were giving Brock Purdy hell. I don't know why his name wouldn't come to my brain, but shutting down one of the better defenses in the NFL. Or I can't. This is a mess. Anyway, the Browns are 3-1 at home. The defense has been really good at home. I think that this is that game where they could really put a team that has one win away early, and you could see another type because they blew out Tennessee and they blew out Cincinnati. I think, could this be a third blowout? I would love that.
Well, we also thought they were going to blow out the Colts, and that was far from the case. So they have to come to play. Like they can't.
That is true.
Blow out the helmets, and here we go. We just got to win. No, they got to go out and compete. They got to treat this as if it's the Chiefs, or or the Ravens next week, or anyone else that's above them. They have to treat them as that, because if not, then they're going to overlook them, and it's going to get sloppy, and then we're all going to be on here pissed off. And I don't want that. I don't want to do that. I want to go on Dog Chug on Wednesday and chug a beer and be excited all week, and then get to the Ravens matchup and hopefully win that. But have to get to this one first. Can't look to the Ravens. Can't look to is Deshaun going to be healthy for the rest of the season for any of this game? We just have to play and win this game. We have to show up. If not, then it's going to be.
Sorry.
I have a weird take. I have a take. There's a shred of truth in what I'm about to say that I really believe. Like when you say the name Clayton Tune, it's hard for me not to like have nightmares of Duck Hodges and Brandon Allen.
Oh my gosh, no!
And just that name, Bailey Zappi. These don't even sound like real people. They sound like made up names. But like these are guys who just were getting their first start and just happened to dice Cleveland up. Jim Schwartz wasn't in charge of any of those defenses. This is a whole separate thing. But like, part of me just almost wishes Kyler was playing, because I know the Browns would be up for that. I know that you're not getting caught off guard by a Kyler Murray. You might get caught off guard by a Clayton Tune. Like that sounds like something that's in the realm of possibility in the Browns universe. You know what I mean?
Gardner Minshew tore them up. Another name, Gardner Minshew, tore that defense to shreds. The best in the world and the historical defenses, it's rivaling 50 years ago, got shredded by Gardner Minshew. I love Gardner Minshew. I've said that a lot of times. I love that dude playing and how he plays. Not when he does it against my team. And this elite defense that everyone's boasting and bragging about. So I'm with no. That's a good point, Casey. I didn't think of that.
I think Casey, I liked what you said right at the end there, where you said Arizona might not run a play in the red zone. I think this could be a game where the Browns are back home. They're fired up. They got their quarterback back. They can put their foot on the gas, blow out a third team at home, and just make get everybody feeling good, get the momentum going back in the right way. They have the defense. They've played so well at home overall, and I just feel like the crowd will be into it. They're despite some of the stuff about Stefanski not being a good play caller and whatever, you still can be 5-3. I don't understand how, especially as Browns fans, where winning has been more difficult than for any other franchise in the NFL. I don't understand how you could not enjoy 5-3. I'm going to soak it in like a sponge. I want to be 5-3. That's a tremendous record when you consider the adversity. You've got the perfect opportunity to take your season by the reins, take a turning point, and try and compete in a difficult AFC and division to get back to the playoffs. That's where I'm at. I think they blow them out. I know we're going to get to predictions, but I can't help it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Hey, it's fine. No, seriously. And Tim, welcome in. I saw you say that earlier. You were a little late. Just appreciate you being here, Tim. And I completely agree with you. And you know it's going to happen anyway. The Browns are going to win this game, and Coach Stefanski will get absolutely no credit for it because the Browns beat the Cardinals, which they were supposed to do. Like it's the world we live in, Tim. And I seriously, I could spend. I'm not kidding. I could probably spend 5 hours on here explaining why Kevin Stefanski is a good head coach, and people still wouldn't believe me, but that's fine. But no, I agree, guys. I do expect the defense to show up today. You know, they need to. Like, this is a group that I honestly wonder if they just heard all the outside noise and this is one of the best defenses we've ever seen, and they took it to heart and they decided that they were happy with how things were instead of continuing to really make a What do you guys think has happened to the defense the last couple of weeks? Do you think that's the case, or are there teams that are starting to find flaws with this defensive scheme?
There's always flaws in every scheme. I don't care whose system is. I don't care what player. There's always flaws. And if you can exploit that, then they did. And last week we saw that early on with the Seattle game. But then, the defense kicked it up. And, after the first 2 touchdowns, they allowed 3 points. And then it was punt, interception, punt, touchdown at the end. So they played well for that stretch. It just happens sometimes. And I don't know. I think they were in more zone last week on that final drive. And they've been playing better in man. They've been like the best man-to-man defense in the league. But that happens. I think this year, this defense doesn't let it be known. Like Watson said, yeah, I see what you guys are saying and stuff. I think they do it, but they keep it internal because of the veterans the veterans that came over. Myles Garrett's there, and he's had some leadership questions over the past few years. But now he has a guy like a Dalvin Tomlinson, and then a Mo Hurst who's been around a little bit, but not playing a lot, and like a Juan Thornhill there. They have all these veteran guys that can all right, guys, we don't care about that. They can say what they want. Yeah, we messed up this week, but we're going to go show them who we are next week. And we're going to prep all week for this. And they're going to be the best offense we play. And we're going to go out and we're going to take everything from them.
I think one thing that gets overlooked because they came out to such a fast start is this is still a new system for them. So Schwartz is still learning his personnel and rotations and his tendencies in like Eddie pointed out, there was a good point there. They have been playing more zone in the last couple of weeks than they were previously. They were playing a higher man-to-man defense, and that is their strength, in my opinion. Now, you can't do man-to-man every down in, down out, but you see when they do have busts, it's always in zone. And I just think that they're still kind of filling each other out. And as this goes along, this team needs to be able to lean on this defense because we already know what the struggles are at the quarterback position, and they need to really put the onus on themselves to carry this team until the offense gets its legs. And that's a lot of pressure, but they need to be up for that. That's going to have to be the expectation for the next at least month until this offense can really start to hit on all cylinders. And if that's even possible, we don't even know what the upper bound limits of this offense can be because we haven't seen it come to fruition, but we know what this defense is capable of. They just have to be able to play like that week in and week out.
I think anytime you start putting your play on tape, the offenses are gonna look at that and say, okay, we can attack this defense here. right? We like the more evidence that they see of the way that the Browns operate, the more offenses are going to shift to what they're going to find holes. No matter, like you said, Eddie, like no matter what defense you are, opposing offenses are going to find weaknesses and try to exploit them. So I think it's on the Browns now to adjust to the way they're being attacked, adapt. And that's a question we talked about Jim Schwartz a lot on the Barking Brown show. We said, one of the things in Philadelphia that there were questions about, like, can you adapt to the way offenses start attacking you? And so I think that they very much can. They have a diverse personnel. And especially when you're coming at home, you're playing this rookie quarterback. I'm throwing the Brandon Allen, the Duck Hodges, all that stuff out the window. I expect the Browns to exploit and take advantage of a quarterback making his first start in the NFL on a very injured, banged up Cardinals team.
I want them to make Clayton Tune look like what the Ravens made DTR look like in week 4. As a pedestrian, probably shouldn't even be there. Like, there's been people that say, oh, he shouldn't even be in the NFL. Well, no, I disagree. After one game, you can't decide that. But I want this Browns defense to do that to Clayton Tune.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And final question, and then we're going to get into game predictions here. Because I think it's a fair question, even though, like, again, I took some heat because at the time when I shared it, the spread was different. When I shared it, the Browns were 9.5-point favorites. So this question is going to be a little bit different because the spread is now gone through the roof since then. The Browns are favored by 13.5 points, okay? What I want to ask you guys, and be honest here, because I don't think I'm the only one, and maybe none of you guys are, but I'm sure there's fans in the chat and maybe some on Twitter and others that feel the same way. You guys nervous at all that we're 13.5-point favorites in this game? At all? Like, even just a piece of you that is like, I just don't, I'm not a fan of that.
I'm uncomfortable.
Weird.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. It does.
Okay, so I'm not the only one. That makes me feel better then. Okay.
But I want to get to the point where it's not. I want to get to the point where that's the expectation is that you go out there and you're expected to dominate, but it's just being in that position, I mean, we'll get to our final predictions, but like 13, that's a bit lofty.
It's lofty, but good. Vegas usually knows what they're talking about. And obviously, there's games that go against the spread and, crazy things that happen in the NFL. But this is a team that should dominate this game. And 13.5, I would put money on that. I'm not putting money on today because I'm not doing that. And I'm not putting money on. I'm not putting money on them because I usually curse them. So I'm not doing that. And I'm not picking against them either. I'll let other people do that. But I'm good with this. I'm good with it because Vegas knows that this team should come out and dominate no matter who's at quarterback. You can put a broomstick back there for all I care right now. As long as he can complete a few passes, I don't care. But this is a game that should be won by 14 or more. So, yeah, I'm with it.
This is just a quick Google search, so take it with a grain of salt. But Google is saying the last time the Browns were a 13-point favorite or more was 1995 against the Jaguars as an expansion team. So it's been a while. And so to answer your question, that is crazy. I could get used to it. I would love to.
$500.
Can't hide money. I love it. I love that.
Dude, I can't even. I don't even want to put. I don't even like putting money on the Browns ever in general, to be honest. Just because I feel like I jinx it too.
I just got to say to Raw, it's like on one hand he's slandering the shit out of Kevin Stefanski in the chat.
Horrendous.
And on the other hand, is putting $500 on the Browns. I don't think those two things add up there.
No, putting $500 on horrendous play calling doesn't sound like the strategy.
I don't get it, man.
You're a Browns fan. At the end of the day, we're all Browns fans. We're going to agree to disagree. That's all I'm going to say.
But who's he had a quarterback since he's been head coach?
Like, what record do the Browns need to have for people to decide Kevin Stefanski might be a pretty good head coach?
17-0.
17-0.
God, it makes no sense.
Or else there's always a criticism.
Oh, 16-1, that one loss. Well, shut up.
Stefanski has the most wins by a Browns head coach since Bill Belichick. He has won in a place where nobody has for 3 decades. He's done so with limited quarterback play the entire time. And yes, I understand Baker was good for half a season. Give him his flowers for that. It does not change the fact that Baker had his best professional season with Kevin Stefanski and Jacoby Brissett had his best professional season with Kevin Stefanski. It doesn't happen on accident. Is Baker playing better right now in Tampa Bay than he did with Kevin Stefanski in 2020? No, he's not. And so I just don't understand. I don't understand. Obviously, Kevin's a flawed coach. I get that. He's not perfect. But you can't argue that he has consistently at least made the Browns competitive with quarterback play that has not been anywhere near elite for any consistent amount of time at all. And so I just don't understand. He's not going to be perfect. Like I can think, everyone's mad about the 3rd and 3 call in Seattle, but you flip the script in Oakland. I think, well, it was actually in Cleveland, but against the Raiders a couple of years ago, the Browns were facing a similar situation. And it was with, oh my God, the name of Nick Mullins. It was with Nick Mullins at quarterback. And
yes, sir.
And Stefanski ran the ball with Nick Chubb, was unsuccessful. The Browns go on to lose that game, and Stefanski took heat for that too. It's like the guy can't win. There is no wonder that the color has run away from his beard because he can't. There's no winning for him. I just don't understand. I'm sorry to rant. It just doesn't make sense.
I don't think he sees any of that, though. I don't think that's why his beard is getting grayer. I think he's just obviously getting a little bit older.
It's the stress,
I
man.
think. Well, I also think
he's doing one of the most stressful things in the world. He's coaching the Cleveland Browns.
President of the United States coaching the Cleveland Browns. Hard jobs, man. It makes you makes you age very quickly. That's for sure. All right, guys. Well, before we do give game predictions, just as a reminder for anyone that wants to change a pace for the broadcast, Paul Keels, the voice of the Buckeyes, is actually going to be filling in for Jim Donovan today for the first time. So if you want a different perspective on the game, Paul is great, by the way. I recommend trying to tune into some of it if you can. But just as a reminder for that, because I'm sure that's going to be pretty cool. Game predictions, gentlemen. Browns and Cardinals in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson is back, hopefully, for the entire game. I'm trying not to laugh when saying that. But anyway, what are your predictions for this game today?
Dominant day for the defense. I have this going down 21-10. I think they might score a lucky touchdown on the short field just based on a turnover and get lucky off one. But other than that, I think the defense puts the lid on the jar. I just need an efficient day on offense. 21 points should be more than enough to win this game.
I'm going to go 30-6.
Okay.
I'm not letting the touchdown.
The Browns putting up 30 points. That would be
the defense is scoring today. I don't know how, but the defense is scoring. Browns defense anytime touchdown score. I might go bet on that, though.
I feel great about a Browns defensive touchdown. They finally started to get the turnovers to go back in their favor. I feel 28-10 feels right to me. I feel like the Cardinals are going to move the ball a little bit. They'll probably score. I think they'll score a touchdown, but I expect that. I agree. I expect the defense to force a turnover, to score a touchdown off of it, or give the Browns really good field position. I'm thinking 3 touchdowns from the Browns offense today, and I would feel really good about that.
So what score do you have, Nick? Did you say score?
28-10.
Okay, 28-10. All right, for mine, I have the Cardinals scoring more than you guys, but honestly, I think that's because there's going to be a garbage touchdown in this game. Because, again, Arizona doesn't quit. I think they'll end up getting some points today. I still don't know how they're going to score 2 touchdowns, but I just have a weird feeling. I really do. Well, like I said, one of those will be garbage touchdown. But I got the Browns 27-17. I don't think they cover that spread. I don't. They'll still win by double digits, but dude, 13.5 points.
2 touchdowns.
That's a lot.
It is. Hey,
just win, baby.
Hey, exactly. As the great Al Davis used to say.
If we can just not say that, because that franchise sucks. That the Raiders are a dumpster fire franchise. Can we just not associate anything?
To be fair, his son's ruining it, but
to be fair, they're a complete mess, and they're worse off than the Browns right now. I don't care what anybody says. They're worse off than the Cleveland Browns.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If anyone thinks that's not true, then I recommend seeing a doctor, because something's clearly wrong.
Since I think it's 99, and not the Browns. Not the Browns have the worst point differential. Not the Browns. So remember that.
There's another team that's been outgained in every game that they've played, but their record
let's
prevents
not
them
talk
from
about
being
them because I hate them.
Who would that be? Who would that be?
Yeah, we can't do it.
Where's my
Can't
quota?
do it. All right.
fair enough.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to this network 216 pregame show today. Again, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. We will talk to you guys all again, as always, next week for your Browns and Ravens pregame show. And as always, Browns, baby.
Go Browns.
Download
All right, wait, do it. Sorry.
PSF. That was all.